Welcome to the Living to Thrive with Cancer podcast, a podcast about the big and little issues that come with living with cancer. I'm Catherine White, a stage 4 colon cancer thriver, passionate about supporting others who have faced a cancer diagnosis and are looking to feel empowered in taking back control of their health and happiness. My own walk with cancer helped me to learn more about myself and how to live with cancer, and it led me to become a holistic cancer coach so I can support others to move from survivor to thriver. So let's get started. Hello, and welcome to episode 4.7 of the Living to Thrive with Cancer podcast. Today, I am talking about getting support, about cancer support groups and the value that they can bring into your life when you have cancer or when you are healing from cancer. Cancer support groups offer several important benefits that we're going to go over today for people who are patients, survivors, and even for caregivers. These groups can provide emotional support, social support, and even give you practical tools and strategies that other people may not be able to share with you because they haven't been on this walk with cancer as you are. If you're a new listener, I would like to welcome you to the podcast. I'm Catherine White, a cancer thriver using my stories and lived experience with cancer as a guide to walk you through your cancer story. As a holistic cancer coach, I want to help to support you through creating health-building lifestyles, managing your stress, and helping you to navigate the day-to-day life and stuff that comes up when you have cancer. If you find what you've learned here today to be valuable, please go ahead and share it with other people. Sharing helps me to support more people like you and move them from survivor to thriver. So go ahead and subscribe to the podcast, like and follow on YouTube, share this with other people. And if you don't mind, head down to the show notes and get your name on my weekly email list. I promise I don't spam you. You get information about what's going on in the Thriver community and a weekly email update on everything related to cancer. So I want to go back to when I was first diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer in 2015. I didn't know what I didn't know, as I'm sure many of you feel, but what I do know is that I could have really used some support. What I've found in my experience is that colon cancer is not one of those cancers that people talk about a lot. It's starting to be talked about more, but back in 2015, there wasn't a whole lot of information out there on it. And so finding a group of people who were living with colon cancer was very challenging. And then what was also difficult was to find people who were living with a stage 4 diagnosis. It's a very unique group of people, and not everybody wants to talk about it. So it's difficult to find help when you have a stage 4 diagnosis, because it's generally, as I've said before, seen as being kind of a death sentence. People just expect that you're going to die. It doesn't pop up, or it wasn't popping up a lot on Google searches back in 2015. What I did do eventually was find a group in the town where I live, and it didn't feel like the best fit for me. It felt like a space for people who were being prepared for palliative, and that was definitely not on my mind. I was 100% determined that I was going to live, and so I wasn't comfortable with the conversations. I wasn't comfortable with the questions. So because it didn't really align with my health goals and the mindset that I needed to be in, I stopped going. I tried some Facebook support groups, but eventually I had to leave those spaces also. For me, what I found was that cancer, as you know, brings up a lot of emotions, and I found it really difficult to navigate some of the anger and the deep and profound sadness and grief and even negativity that was in those spaces. And I'm sure there's a lot of really great spaces out there, and I hope that you have found those spaces. I'm just speaking to what my experience was, and hopefully it is not the same experience that other people have. But I just found that what I needed was to hear uplifting information and to hear other people's strategies and tools for navigating stage 4 colon cancer. And I wasn't finding that. The long story short is I wasn't finding that. It wasn't resonating with me. And so I once again had to pull myself out of that space, knowing that that wasn't in my own mental and emotional best interest. So again, I know that there are great support systems out there now. I know there are organizations that have really come to the forefront that are nonprofit organizations. I know, like myself, there are cancer coaches out there that weren't there when I was first walking through this story of cancer in my life. And so I just really hope for you that you are finding a space that resonates with you and that you are getting the support that you deserve. So today, what I want to do is focus on the benefits of belonging to a support group or network. And what I have discovered is that there are 7 key areas that a support system can provide for you. So let's get into what those 7 key areas are. The first and most logical is the idea of emotional support. So when you are in a group with other people, you can find camaraderie and companionship, because cancer can be a really lonely experience, especially if the people around you haven't been through it, which we always hope that they have not. When you understand, it's because you have been there. So it's finding the people that have been there that are going to help to make you feel a little bit less lonely and a little less isolated. It's a community. It's a community of people that are going to really empathize with where you are and have these shared experiences of being able to talk about what they're going through, talk about what it feels like to have cancer, how you navigate that with your family, what are you eating, what strategies are you trying. People have experience that they can bring to the table in these groups. And so that's a really important piece, especially, as I said, if you are navigating this for your first time or in isolation, or you're in a stage 4 diagnosis and there's just no one around you who knows what you're talking about. And a support group can be a really safe space for expression, that you can truly say what you need to say. You can express your emotions, your fears, your anger, your stress, your hopes, because sometimes when we talk with our families about how we're feeling, it adds, or it feels like it adds, an emotional burden on them. And I know for myself, I didn't want to burden my family any more than I had already felt like I was burdening them. So to have other people to talk to would have been really, really helpful for me. So that's basically the nuts and bolts of the emotional support, of getting that out of the isolation into that sharing experience and into a place where you can safely express what you're thinking and feeling, which then leads to the second part, which is the mental health benefits. We want to be always thinking about reducing stress and anxiety. And so people who are participating in support groups can find that their stress and anxiety is going down because they have people to turn to when things feel difficult, when things get hard. And that's really important for your mental health. And you might find coping mechanisms in a group, seeing how other people are coping, learning from them. What are their strategies in their physical and emotional challenges, and how are they managing? And this is also supportive of your own mental health, because being part of a community can help to raise your happy hormones and lower your cortisol, your stress hormone, which can support depression if it's not managed, or support anxiety or stress. We really want to foster a sense of community and connectivity and positivity when we're talking with other people. And so people who get you are going to help to support those thoughts and feelings that you're having. Next is information and knowledge sharing. So you can see how it's all sort of tying together here. People who are in groups together can also bring education in that you may not have access to, or that you might not have thought of. People might be talking about different treatment options that you didn't know existed, or how they're navigating side effects, or what they're eating, or their lifestyle. Some people might even be sharing about research or clinical studies that is new and on the edge of what is happening in the cancer world, that you may not want to be researching on your own, or that you just might not be aware of. And you can really get advice and practical tips from people who are sharing. They know, the people that already know what they like, they know what works, they know what doesn't work. And so being in this space is a space where others are going to offer you information that you may not have access to, that you might not know. And you might even have experts pop into these support groups who are invited as guest speakers that are going to share information with you. Like I have guests on the podcast. I'm making it my goal to bring in people that I think will provide you with information that is valuable to you, to offer professional insights or personal insights on cancer-related topics. Then we have coping skills. So we can build resilience and find enhanced coping skills in support groups. When we hear that other people are doing well, it boosts our resiliency. It boosts our positive mindset. It helps us to feel like this is possible. This is doable. And one of the things that I hear a lot from people when I tell them that I'm a stage 4 colon cancer thriver and I'm almost 10 years out is that they want to be that. That is what they want for themselves. And they say things like, you're an inspiration. Well, I feel a little bit humble about that. I don't feel like I'm an inspiration so much as I'm an educator, but I'm going to allow you to make your own decision around how you see that because it is individual. You get to see what other people are doing and view that for yourself in what you need that to be for yourself. Because as I've said before, everybody's cancer story is different. You may just need to see somebody who is a couple of weeks ahead of you, that is like leading the charge, showing you that this is possible. People who've already had the surgeries, people who've already gotten through treatment, people who've made changes. These are the people that are going to inspire you to take a look at what is best for you and what you think you can bring into your life. And that is going to help you to create a positive mindset and enhance those coping skills that we need to have, that you need to have when you are navigating cancer. And sometimes one of the benefits out of these groups is friendships, that you connect with somebody or some people who really resonate with you, who really are in the same place that you are and are able to really connect to your heart center, to your emotional self, or maybe even your stories are similar. You might even find that you live in a similar area. Social connection is really important. Now, not everybody's going to want to make friendships out of these groups. Sometimes it's a place to just show up and learn and grow and then walk away. It can be tricky when you are feeling uncomfortable in your own certainty around your health to become emotionally invested in somebody else's health. But it can also be very supportive for yourself to have that person that you trust and you grow with and you are emotionally attached to. Because this is the kind of support for survivorship that cancer survivors need. They need the benefit of a supportive network that is going to help them to adapt to life in treatment, during surgery, post-surgery, and navigating these lifelong health changes that will make a difference. Next, we are going to talk about quality of life and how quality of life can be improved through interactions. Studies show that cancer patients who participate in support groups often report higher levels of well-being, better symptom management, and sometimes even improved health outcomes. So if you go back to the guest podcast that I did with Coral Levkovitz, we talked about a group of women who were in a study with her that had breast cancer and were participating in a fitness program. And they got together every week, whether it was in person or virtually, and they exercised together. And so that was a camaraderie that they built while they were also building their strength. And they found from her study that the effectivity of chemo on breast cancer patients who were exercising was higher. So there are health benefits physically to participating in these programs with other people. Because again, as I've said, you're making connections, you're learning from them, you're gathering information, you're getting strategies that you may not have thought of or anyone had ever talked to you about. And all of this is the good stuff. This is the gold in a cancer story, is having access to people and resources that are going to encourage you to keep moving forward and to build on for your own health and wellness. And again, a group can help you to reduce your healthcare stress. because of the information, because you're better equipped to communicate with healthcare providers when people say to you, this is something I asked my doctor about, or this is a strategy that I tried, you can gain the confidence to use your voice and to advocate for yourself in the medical world. And finally, I want to talk about empowerment and purpose. There is such a sense of loss of control when you receive a cancer diagnosis. It feels like your whole world has fallen apart, everything is crumbling around you, and you just can control nothing. But we know that that's not true. You can have a lot of control in your life with cancer when you have tools and strategies. And support groups can empower you to take charge of your health and actively participate in your treatment and your recovery. And this is also an opportunity to help other people. And I'm going to share with you shortly an opportunity for you to join me in a masterclass, which is a form of support because I want to teach you some strategies in real time. This is my way of helping you. This is my opportunity to take what I have learned along the way and to share it with you. And that's what you can get from other people in support groups, is their lived experience that then allows you to go and help someone else. It's like paying it forward all of the time. I learned this, I'm going to share it with you so that you can do this also. And it can help you to create a positive identity. I don't identify as a cancer survivor as much as I identify as a cancer thriver. That's a really important label, I guess, that I use for myself because I know that this is more than just surviving. This is about vitality in life. This is about living to thrive. This is about finding my own identity post-cancer, reinventing who I am as a person, and being able to make the shift from who I was pre-cancer to who I am now. And that's a really, really important part of moving forward. So perhaps in a cancer support group, you can find your own identity, or you can find the tools to help you find your identity. Because at the end of the day, it's your health story. And all of these strategies that you can gather from being in a support group are going to add chapter to chapter to chapter to your book of how you are living with cancer. A cancer support group is basically a holistic approach to healing by addressing the emotional and the social and the physical needs. And it offers you some companionship and it can offer you a sense of hope. I talk about support and not having to navigate cancer alone in my book, Living to Thrive, A Holistic Guide to Living with Cancer. There's a lot of information inside the book related to navigating the diagnosis through to treatment and into recovery. And it's a good tool for you as you walk through cancer because you can read it and reread it and reread it and internalize what my lessons have been that I'm sharing with you. And I'm also, as I mentioned, hosting a free online masterclass on Saturday, December the 7th at 12 p.m. Eastern. It's called Support Yourself, 3 Self-Concepts Every Cancer Survivor Needs to Know. It's available to you in the show notes to save your seat. It's 1 hour of education around yourself. And I'm going to share with you an opportunity to take a look at a support group that I have started that you may be interested in. So you can head down to the show notes and you can get yourself a seat in that Support Yourself masterclass. And friends, if you've enjoyed this episode or other episodes, I would really appreciate it if you would leave a review wherever you're listening. This helps me to reach more people like you who are looking for support and guidance in a different way to live with cancer. Thanks so much for being here today. And watch for the next episode where a very special guest who has a specialty in nutrition is going to share with us some information on how you can bring healthy eating into your life with cancer and why that is so important. Thank you so much for being here today. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. And may you live your life to your fullest, follow your heart, and thrive in all you do.